let's just, I just want to do an audio check here, make sure my audio is good. And it looks to be in order. So let's get started. My name is Robert Hill, and it's really a pleasure to work with you this semester. I'm going to be your instructor for BSc 1005 and also BSc 1005L. We have a lecture and a lab for biological foundations. And so I've been teaching this course for quite a while here at Hillsborough College. I think it's almost been 20 years, to be honest with you. I'm above 15, but I think it's 16 or 17. So I've been teaching this class a little while. I'm an adjunct professor, if I didn't already say that. And I'm also a full-time professor of cell and molecular biology over at St. Pete College in Clearwater. And but I just can't leave HCC. I love working with Hillsborough Community College students, and I'm going to still call it Hillsborough Community College as we're kind of transitioning into the new name for the school. So this is just going to be, my intentions here are to give you like a 20 minutes introduction into this course. I'm going to go through the most important components and explain to you what your responsibilities are for completing this course, and direct you to where you can get more information and show you how to get things going in this class. All right, so real quick, I'm going to share my screen here, and I've got a little presentation for you. Just to give you something to note. So this is the same video for the lecture and the lab. Okay, so you don't need to watch it twice. If you're enrolled in both the lecture and the lab, then watching it once is going to suffice. Now, if you're only enrolled in the lecture or you're only enrolled in the lab, which is not very common, but there's a couple students I know that are doing that. I'm going to go over some stuff for the lecture and some stuff for the lab in this brief presentation. Okay. All right. I'm going to cover this twice tonight. It's very important. So in order to remain in the course, there are a couple assignments that you need to complete in the first week. So they will be due, this coming Sunday, January 18th at midnight. And this is going to make more sense to you as we get through the end of the presentation, what all these different things are. But you have 2 short assignments that you have to complete for the lecture, and you have 3 short assignments that you have to complete for the lab. So if you don't complete them, you're going to be automatically dropped from that course. So whether it's the lecture or the lab, whatever, you don't complete them in. So if that happens, you need to then re-enroll, and hopefully a spot will be available to you. But I'm going to do that. That's automatically done first thing Monday morning. So, be sure that you complete the assignments. Some students intentionally don't complete them because they use it as a way to drop themselves from the course. And that's why I get that in as soon as possible. Okay. So just some general information about this course. This is this course is intended for non-science majors, right? So, most of you are freshmen and sophomore, and most of you are not a science major. You get a lot of majors in business, marketing, some, pre-professional, psychology, English, all sorts of things. And that's one thing I've really enjoyed about this class is the diversity of students I get to work with in here. It will work towards your AA or AS degree, right? So in the mathematics and natural science requirement within the science discipline, and it is one of those core options. And what's nice is it has a lab component. Okay, so you will get a separate grade for both. You'll get one grade for lecture and one grade for lab, right? It's not a combined course. And this course also fulfills the Florida Gordon Rule requirement, which if you're not familiar with that, that means that there is a writing assignment in the course. You have to write 1,500 words, and I'll get into that a little more in a little bit. Okay, so I want to stress the word introductory. This is an introductory, low-stress course that's designed for non-science majors. If you are a science major, if you're intending on becoming a biology major, this is not really the right course for you. You need to maybe talk to your advisor again and consider enrolling in General Bio 1, which is BSc 1092. Okay. Now, I've taught this course many ways, with lectures, without, with using instructional videos. We have a really, really good, this textbook has really, really good electronic resources that will basically take you through the textbook. I look at this course because there's so many non-science people in here. What I want to do, my goal, instead of you, trying to drill into each of you DNA replication and transcription, translation, things like that, which are very intricate biological processes. I would rather introduce you to a lot of different things in biology, which this book does a great job of covering, almost all aspects of biology, and hopefully, spark an interest. And maybe that might, cause you to want to consider majoring in biology. So this course is not meant to be difficult. If you do the assignments, you get them done, you're going to be good to go. It really is. It can be an easy A. Going further on that, you do have a few exams in this course, and they're not proctored. All right. So, complete the exam, get the right answer, and you are welcome to use outside resources, including the electronic copy of the textbook, which you're going to have to complete those exams. Now, your exam grades are not going to make up all of your final grade, and I'll get to that in a bit. But, I allow that to take a lot of the stress off. I'm not stressing memorization in this course. I'm stressing, I want you to get into the information and complete it. And, my hopes is that it sparks some interest in you. I've been teaching and studying and researching biology for almost 30 years, and I absolutely love the subject. And I think it's very fascinating. And, many students, they get introduced to it and they don't love the subject. So I understand that and respect it. And that's why, I think it's really worked really well having this course designed how it is. Now, if you are a person, though, that, learns better in kind of a lecture format course, you may want to consider unenrolling from this course and taking it in person. That might be a better way for you to get exposed to the information rather than doing these sorts of electronic assignments that are provided by the publisher. Okay, so no lectures, right? But the deadlines are enforced. So most assignments you have to complete them on time, and if you don't, some assignments you can complete late, and there's going to be like a daily penalty that's applied. And there are a few assignments that if you can't complete them late. And I can't open them back up for you. It's actually a department policy that we have in place preventing that. Okay. Okay, so a little bit on your textbook. We're using the Mater Essentials textbook. It's a really good book. We've been using it I think we've been using that at least for the last 10 years. And not this is the edition you need, but we've been using previous editions. So do you need to go to the bookstore? Do you need to buy the textbook, like a physical copy of it? No, you don't. All right, so this course is part of this Hawk book bundle, the first day Barnes & Noble's program that they have. So, 95% of you are just going to want to do absolutely nothing to remain opted in automatically and have access to the textbook. Okay, so taking no action, just logging into Canvas, and I'll show you this in a little bit, going to required resources and accessing that is going to automatically enroll you in it. And then the school's going to bill you for access to the book. So we're going to be using McGraw-Hill Connect, which is a online resource that will basically teach you the contents of this book. It also provides some really excellent digital lab exercises, to kind of introduce you to biology lab work. All right, so this is something that has been only recently, like last semester, explained to me, and it's a new policy. It's not going to apply to most of you, but if you are, let's say you're a sophomore and you are enrolled in this course, and then you're enrolled in 5 other courses, more or less, that don't use the Barnes & Noble's first day. In other words, that don't have textbooks. Let's say you're taking this and 5 sections of racquetball or something like that. So the way the billing works with this is you are billed per credit hour for digital access. Now, if you're taking other courses and they're all using the Barnes & Noble thing, then that's okay. So again, this doesn't apply to many people, but there has been some instances where it basically rips you off. So just take a close look at that. So if you're enrolled in other classes and they're not using the first day policy, then it might be in your financial best interest to opt out of access to the textbook and then go directly to McGraw-Hill and purchase a subscription for Connect. Okay. What this works out to, though, is about $60-$70 for access to all these digital resources. So you'll have a digital copy of the textbook that you can access anytime, including during exams, and you will have access to all of the digital exercises that we're going to complete in this course. Okay, so I'm going to cover a little bit about the lecture, and then I'm going to cover a little bit about the lab, and that's it. That's all we're doing in this introductory video. So what are your requirements in lecture? So you're going to have, the class is divided up into units or modules. There's 4 of them, and each of those 4 modules has a due date. All right, so on that due date, you basically have 2 things due. One is you have a module quiz, and the other is that you have all of the chapter reading assignments that have been assigned for that module. And it just depends on the module with the number of reading assignments. Okay, so what these reading assignments are going to do is they're going to take you through the chapter in the textbook. You're going to read a couple paragraphs. McGraw-Hill Connect is going to pop up a question that you can ask, that you can answer. And if you get it right, you keep going on. If you get it wrong, the program kind of tailors you to relearn the information without going back to the very beginning. It doesn't do that. Then further to complete the reading assignment. So, how long these reading assignments take, it just depends on the reading assignment, on the chapter. I've carefully gone through these and chosen material that is most pertinent to this course, that I think you'll find the most interesting, also most important in this course, and also that is appropriate in completing in a certain amount of time. But it's a 3 credit hour course, so you're looking at more than three hours per week of work. The trick to this, because the due date is about every month, is to not wait till the last week to do the assignments. Okay, it's really you're gonna feel really bogged down. Just do a few a week, and you're gonna be good. That's all you really have to do. Just do 2 assignments a week, and you're gonna be good. And then a few days before the due date for that module, take the module quiz. All right. Again, it's on Canvas. So that module quiz is not part of Connect. It's on Canvas. And it'll be automatically graded. You'll know the grade right away. And yeah, it's not proctored. Okay. I don't like the word open book, but it's not proctored. All right, so the fourth module is a little different. You still have this big quiz, but it's actually a cumulative quiz. So it covers all of the modules for all the chapters. And these quizzes are they're generally 40 questions or so, different format questions. Okay, so we call it a final exam just because it is cumulative. It does cover the whole semester. Again, you can use outside resources to help you with those quizzes. All right, again, because this is a Gordon Rule class, there has to be a writing component. So you will complete a writing assignment about 50% through the course. And there are detailed instructions on Canvas on how to write the assignment. I'm not going to go into those details tonight. I'll just give you a quick overview, which is that you're basically going to choose like a current event article on biology, or I'm not looking for you to find a research paper on biology. Don't do that. I've given you some websites to go to find interesting articles related to biology. My suggestion is to pick something that is pertinent to or relates to something that we've covered. And then you're going to write I think it's 750 words on it. You're going to do 2 of those. Okay. It's one assignment where you're going to do like two current event articles. Okay. All right. Now, this writing assignment does require original work. Okay. You can't use Grammarly. You can't use ChatGPT, anything. You can't use any AI. Your work is going to be submitted to HCC uses Turnitin. Okay. We use a different one at St. Pete College. It's going to be run through Turnitin. All right. It checks for plagiarism, and it also has a AI checker as well. And I've been doing this a while, and it works. Okay. These work really well. So, students that don't heed this are going to be required to rewrite the assignment, and it's going to be with a substantial penalty. Okay. You guys are freshman sophomore. I'm not looking to ruin your academic career here and give you an FF, but it's going to seriously hurt your grade in the course if that happens. So just don't let it happen. All this AI stuff is pretty new, and it's going to change a lot. It's already changing things. You're going to be using it for the rest of your life. All right. So look at this as an opportunity, one of the few opportunities that you're maybe going to have in your education to really improve your writing. So, give it your best work at it, improve, go back over, edit. And I will give you good feedback on your writing. So all students, it does take me a couple of weeks to grade these. It's a lot of work to grade them, but I do provide feedback on your writing and suggestions and critique the article completely. There is a rubric provided for this and all that, and it's there are details on Canvas. Okay, so just a heads up about that. I start putting out announcements to start working on it and things like that. But I just can't stress this now because this will be one of the few times we have an interaction like this that you want to do original work. Okay, so just put all that outside of your thought that you're going to use ChatGPT or something. It's not going to happen for this assignment. Okay, so you got your chapter reading assignments, your module quizzes, right? Final exam is like a module quiz, except it's cumulative. And then you have a writing assignment, and that's it. All right, how that works to your final grade. So all of those mod quizzes, the first 3 make up 30%. All of your reading assignments, there's 34 of them. We're going to cover the whole textbook. Towards that 4th module, you're going to see we're going to do a lot more chapters in that fourth module, and they are shorter. The reading assignments are substantially shorter, so don't panic when you see that list. It works out typically the same number of hours work that you have to do for each module. But the reason for that is because a lot of the chapters towards the end of the book are more topic oriented, whereas the stuff from the beginning of the book, which covers cellular processes and things like that, are much more foundational to general biology. So we cover that in a little more detail. So those make up a big chunk of your grade, 40%. Okay, be sure you do them. And the next slide, we're going to talk about penalties for not. That one writing assignment and that one final exam, total 100% of your grade. Okay. All right. So remember, we're talking about the lecture. What are your penalties? Well, there are grade penalties. When you complete a module quiz, if you miss a question, you will get points deducted for that. And if you, as you are working through the reading assignment, not answering, just Christmas treeing the questions, you're going to have points deducted for that as well. But the big point deductions come in if you don't do the assignment. Okay, so for the reading assignments, when Mod 1 is due, they're always due on Sundays at midnight. Okay, there's only 4 due dates, and you can work ahead. But if you don't complete the reading assignment for that module, they can't be opened back up. Again, this is a department policy. So, regardless of the reason, internet problems, health problems, all these things. If things are going on, please communicate with me and we will figure something out, whether you need to take an incomplete for the course or things like that. But these can't be opened back up. Now, we're doing 34 of them. If you did miss a few, it's really not going to penalize your grade too much. You're still get an A in the class. But if you start missing 7, 8, or 9 of them, it's going to really start to bring down your grade. It's going to be impossible to get, an A or B or whatever you want. Okay. The module quizzes, and the writing assignment, I can work with you with. So each day that it's not turned in, there's a 20% deduction from the grade that you would have gotten, without any late penalty. Okay, so that's automatically applied. Those things don't need to be opened back up. They should stay open for you. If you miss the deadline, just get it in as soon as possible and get the least amount of penalty as you can. So this is a Gordon Rule course. In other words, in order to pass the course, you have to do the writing assignment. So if you don't complete the writing assignment, you can be automatically failed from the class. Just keep that in mind. That is a requirement for this course. There's only a few Gordon Rule courses you're going to take, I think, in your A or AS. I forget if it's, I don't remember the number, but so that is a requirement. So you have to do the writing assignment. You can receive a grade of F if you don't do the writing assignment at all. Okay. Don't be scared of it. You got a lot of time to work on it. I've got a really good instructions on how to do it. And again, look at it as a really good opportunity for you to work on your writing. That's what this is all about. Okay, that's it for the lecture. Super simple. And after I go over the lab, actually, you know what? I think it's a good time. Why don't we go to Canvas, look at the lecture, and then we'll come back to here and go to the lab. Let's do that. All right, so, oops, I got the lab open here. Lecture. Okay, so I teach multiple sections of this and across multiple campuses. Be sure if you email me that I want you to use Canvas Messenger because that way I'll know exactly what section you're in. But that's important. So I need to know what section you're in. Okay, so when you open up the course, you're going to get this Welcome to Biological Foundations, and it's going to go over in more detail than I'm doing now, everything that you need for the course. And there is a course syllabus that's available. So it goes over the structure, which I've just gone over, the module quizzes, the chapter reading assignments. And pretty much everything, your landing page needs to be the modules page because that's where you're going to be going on a regular basis to access the assignments. But just real quick, I want to show you, these are the due dates here. Okay, so you can see we have a special first week module, like I was talking about earlier. So January 18th, first week module is due. And if you click on that, you can see, well, it just takes you to module, sorry. The first week assignments right here, you have to complete those. Okay. And then, further on the modules page, you can see the first module has, you've got 7 chapters you're going to complete. Each one is an assignment that you'll do in Connect. And then finally, you'll take that module 1 quiz, and you'll do that all before February 15th at midnight. Okay. You can see each chapter weighs equally to your, to all of those assignments that you do, all 34 of them. Module 2 due March 15th. Your writing assignment, March 29th. Right. I've kind of tried to space everything out as much as possible. April 12th for module 3, and then module 4, you can see we do have more chapters, but they are shorter. Your final exam. Now, this is the last day of the course, so that final exam, there's no late. I can't accept late work for that. You have to get it in for it to be accepted because the course is over at midnight. Okay, so on this modules page, you'll be able to access all your assignments. Over here, you've got your course materials, which is where you want to go to, a little unclear on this. Either you click on this or you just go to McGraw-Hill Connect. I think you have to click on something here first to stay opted in. And that is it for the lecture. All right. I think I've covered everything there. Okay. All right, let's go back to my little PowerPoint here, and then we'll get to the lab, and that'll be it. All right. So anyways, if you're enrolled in the lecture and not in the lab, which is not too many of you, you could probably stop listening now, and just don't forget that first week assignment. Uh-oh, I think my mic was muted there for a little bit. I'm sorry about that. Let me just check to see where. Okay, you didn't miss much. I don't know, I must have accidentally clicked that. All right, anyways. Separate grade for both lecture and lab, and the subscription that you have to McGraw-Hill Connect, you're going to use it in both the lecture and the lab. And really, this is one of the reasons why we use this publisher is because it has some really, really good digital lab exercises. I mean, this does not substitute in any way to being in a lab and doing it completing these assignments in person. It doesn't, but it does a pretty good job and it gets pretty close. That's why this is not designed for science majors. All right. So the format of this, the lab is very easy. Every week you have lab exercises to complete, and that's it. All right. Then at the end of the semester, you have one exam, and that's it. Most everyone gets 100 on all the lab exercises that they complete. It's very straightforward. It does good at teaching you the processes and value using the scientific method. When you're using the digital format, it has like a little lab notebook that you can keep your data in and things like that. All right. So you have them due every week. So, keep that in mind. Every Sunday, except 1 week, which is the spring break week, you have assignments due up until the end of the semester. Unlike the lecture where they're kind of spaced out into those units. Okay. How long do these labs take? Each week you're spending about, depends on how fast you go through it, but it takes most students about 2 to 3 hours to complete the lab exercises that we've assigned. Okay. All right. And then on the last day of class, there is a final exam. It is unproctored. Okay. and a review sheet is provided. Right, it's cumulative. And my take on this, I've designed this final exam where if you've completed all the lab exercises, you're in pretty good shape for and you review the review sheet, you're in pretty good shape to take the final. I'm not requiring that you take detailed notes of these lab exercises that you're doing, and learn them before the final exam. Okay, it really touches on the main concepts that we've been covering throughout the lab exercises. Okay, so 3 to 4 digital lab exercises every week that you're going to complete. Okay, so I realize with these online courses, due dates, it gets a little nutty. So there's some flexibility with the lab exercises. What we don't want is for you to fall behind, and that's why everything's kind of scheduled the way it is. So if you don't get it in by Sunday at midnight, you can complete it late. You don't need to contact me to open it up. All these lab exercises remain open the entire course. And that's good because that means for your final, you can always go back into them and look up something if you need to. But it's a big penalty for these lab exercises, the 30% of the grade that you would have earned per day. Again, you're going to do a lot of them. If you were to miss a few, I think you could still get an A in the class. Just depends on the number that you miss. So the final exam is provided on the last day of class, and you won't get an opportunity to turn that in late. Okay. So again, very simple format for the lab. You got exercises to do every week. Okay. I want to stress again the first week attendance policy. Okay. So this is put in place to allow students that need to get into the course to get in, and students that don't want to be in the course anymore, they have a way that they can automatically withdraw from it. So, all of these assignments are only going to take, they don't take long. They're really pretty short the first week because not really getting into some hardcore biology. Personal safety, lab safety, and hand washing is about as sophisticated as it gets. But it's going to also introduce you to these reading assignments and the modality, like how they work, how the Connect software works. I've had very good success with this software. It works on multiple formats. When you do these lab exercises, you really want to be trying to do them on a PC. You can run into some issues if you're trying to do it on an iPad or something. But it does work, like tablets and stuff can work for these Connect reading assignments. I'm not guaranteeing that. You need to, make sure that that's working for you. I recommend doing all this on a computer. Okay, so give yourself an hour or two to complete all of these by Sunday at midnight. Don't wait till Sunday night to do it, because at midnight, it'll automatically drop you from the class. Then you got to re-enroll it. Okay. All right. So I have a lot of students this semester, a few hundred. Actually, probably over 500 students, which is great. So I have an open email policy. You can contact me anytime, email me anytime. The preferred way of you contacting me, though, is through Canvas Messenger. And actually, before we leave, I'm going to go over to lab and to the Canvas lab page and show you everything. But I just want to stress this, that you should use Canvas Messenger, because that way I know what section you're in, and I can help you accordingly. I'm usually pretty quick responding back, but give me at least 2 business days, just in case I'm getting bogged down. If you haven't heard back from me in 2 business days, I may have overlooked your email, or set a reminder and just didn't get back to it. It does happen, but not too often. Just email me again. Maybe put an exclamation point in the subject title, and I do apologize in advance that happened. Okay. And I'm happy to meet with any student online via Teams. I mean, this is a asynchronous course, right? So, it's very automated. But if you need any help with the content, if you want help developing your writing assignments, whatever you need, I'm happy to meet with you guys. So just contact me through Messenger, and we will set up a time to meet online. Okay. I want you guys to work real hard this semester. Again, my goal is just to spark an interest in the subject. That's my goal here, not to stress you guys out and, memorization. We're not doing that here. Okay. I just want you to get introduced to the subject, biology, and hopefully get an interest into it. All right, let's go over to the lab just to show you that Canvas page. It's very similar though. Here we are. All right, that was lecture. Here's your lab. Okay, so the home page looks a little something like this. All right, again, it uses the same textbook, McGraw-Hill Connect, the same stuff. You have, we're going to do about 50 lab exercises in total. So, like I said, missing one or two, it's not the end of the world. You can still get an A in the course. And remember, a letter grade is the only thing that gets submitted to the college. So getting a 99 and a 91 is the same thing at the end of the day. You do have a final exam, 40 questions, multiple choice, and true, false. You do have a time limit on it. All right, keep that in mind. It's not proctored. It covers the major concepts, and there is a review sheet available. Okay, if you get the labs done and you look over this review sheet, you're going to be in good shape for that final exam. Okay. The final is 15% final grade. Everything else is those lab exercises. And that, when I teach this in person, the grade is pretty similar. We have a midterm and a final, but sometimes a report depending on the course. But, you suiting up, showing up, and doing the lab work is what makes up your grade. And that's why it's such a big component there, is completing these lab exercises. So, going over to modules, you're just going to see them. They're all listed out, man. That's it. You got 15 weeks. That's what that W stands for. So the one's a little unique here is that first week, you have to get it in. If you don't, you can't work forward. It's a prerequisite to do the virtual labs. And not completing these three will cause you to be automatically dropped from the course. Okay, so just get these done. Do one a day this week, and don't worry about it this weekend. You're going to be all good. And that gives us time. If there's problems, you're having issues with Connect or computer problems, that gives us time to start working that out this week. Although I will tell you from experience, I haven't really had any problems with that. I've been doing this for a long time. Okay, we're going to cover a lot of different topics. And again, these lab exercises are pretty cool. I think they do a pretty good job. There's your review sheet, and there's your final exam. Remember, you do have a time limit on that. So that is it. That's all I got for you guys. This is not going to look the same as it does for you. This is going to take me to so this looks different, but this is where you're basically going to go, and you'll create an account with Connect and login credentials, things like that. And it'll be the same thing for both the lecture and the lab. Okay. All right. I think that is it. And I wish I could say if anyone has questions, and if anyone does have questions, just email me, and I will be happy to answer them. And again, I want to welcome you back from holiday break, and welcome you back to school, and to welcome you to the study of biology. Okay, everyone have a wonderful first week back, and I look forward to working with you this semester. All right.